Thank you everyone for joining and welcome to Forge Partner Talks, BIM Standards and Checking. I'm Sanjana Chand. I'm the Developer Marketing Manager on the Forge marketing team. Please use the Q&A tab to submit any questions you have. I'll guide the question and answer portion at the end of the webinar. If we can't get to your question at the end, we do have a blog series to answer the questions we didn't get to. We will be recording the session and we will make it available to you as soon as we can. Our host today is Emily Sherbensky. Please take it away, Emily.
Thank you, Sanjana. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. As Sanjana said, my name is Emily Sherbensky. I lead the Forge marketing team at Autodesk, and this is the first of our Forge Partner Talks webinars in June. And today we're going to be talking about BIM standards and checking. We have a full panel today. We have 3 great partners joining us, as well as 1 customer. So first, some quick introductions. We have Frank Schuyer joining us from Xinaps, along with his customer, Michael. So Frank, do you want to start by just quickly introducing yourself?
Yep. Again, thank you, Emily, for the introduction. Thank you for having us today. My name is Frank Schuyer. I am the CEO and the founder of Xinaps. We are founded 4 years ago, and we began developing add-ins for Revit 4 years ago. And 2 years ago, we used our technology stack, and we bring everything to a cloud-based solution verified, where we'll tell you more about during this call.
Great.
Yeah, so that's shortly our introduction.
Perfect. And you're joined by Hugh as well on your screen, who's just going to be running some demos for you this morning.
Yep.
So,
thank you.
thanks for joining us. All right, and then Michael, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. So, would you quickly?
Should be easy. Yeah, it should be easy. Very similar to yours, Polish as well. So my name is Michael Bartyzel, although I am based in London, and I work for Buro Happold. Buro Happold is a global engineering firm where we put BIM in #1 spot. We think this is where we can gain quite a lot, and we share our knowledge with others at the same time.
Great. Thank you. All right, next we have Varun. Varun's the CEO and co-founder of Encircle. Varun, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Thank you, Emily. Thank you for inviting for this Forge panel discussion. I am Varun Bhartiya, CEO and co-founder of Encircle. After obtaining bachelor's degree from IIT Madras, I've been part of working with GE and the SAW system for a few years. In 2012, I incorporated Encircle Tech with an objective to automate a lot of workflows in the construction space. We currently have clients in 14 different countries, and we've served about 7+ customers of the Forge. It's very I'm happy to be able to develop certain software which can help the industry.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And last but definitely not least, we have Matt joining us from IMAGINiT Technologies. Matt, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks. Matt Mason from IMAGINiT Technologies. I'm about a 25-year veteran of the CAD software development world, and the last 13 or so have been mostly focused around the Autodesk Revit line of products. I currently run the software development for package products at IMAGINiT, and we have a variety of products, including the Clarity product that we'll talk about today.
Great. All right. Well, I'm excited to jump in. So let's get started. And I'd like to start this morning with Varun. So Varun, can you tell us a little bit more about how Encircle got started and the solution that you built that you're showcasing today?
Sure. Like I said, Emily, it has always been my passion to create an impact in the industry, and that's how I decided what are the problems in the construction space that we can solve. And very interestingly, great innovations happen when you take a concept from one domain and apply it very innovatively in a very altogether different domain. That's how we came up with this concept and idea. In the software world, whenever a developer commits the code, there are a whole set of automatic checks that happen before that code is actually pushed to the production. And this is very important because a lot of them are working on the things simultaneously, and any delay in the check can lead to a lot of rework. I think same kind of problem happens in the construction industry. Many designers are working on the design simultaneously, and oftentimes even though guidelines have been laid, the checks do not happen in time. So that's how we came up with a concept where we design, whenever a design is uploaded into BIM 360, our customers wanted to have these checks run automatically and inform the designer that there are certain issues with the checks in the model. We built exactly that. We developed the platform called as BIM Connections, the platform that runs platform that runs checks automatically and informs the user. Let's look at the demo. Let me share my screen as well.
That'd be great. And the solution's called BIM Connector, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's built on the platform of BIM Connector. One part of the module of that is BIM standards checking.
Okay.
I hope you can see my screen.
We can, yes.
All right. So what we have here is it is important that we create a system such that once it is configured, you don't really need to trigger things every time because that's one thing that does not happen in the industry. So every time a design or a file is uploaded in BIM 360, thanks to very good APIs of BIM 360, we are able to monitor all the activity happening in BIM 360, and we generate the results of model checking. These results are then available for viewing in Forge Viewer. So what I show here is basic login. We create a connector, super easy to do. Anyone can do this. It's almost like filters that you create in your emails or anything. So here the event is new file added. We pick up the folder that you would want to monitor whenever a file is uploaded to a project folder of BIM 360. We choose an action. We want to run rule checker. Again, you can choose where you would want the results to be uploaded automatically. This is where the rules results would be uploaded. And with that, it's done. I mean, that's the only point where we want any design engineer to come on this platform. And after that, he can really forget about it because everything else is now going to happen automatically. Here we are showing a designer is uploading a file into BIM 360. As it does the processing, as soon as the file is uploaded, we are able to process the file on the server, run set of rules. I mean, there are probably 3,000 plus rules in the industry. Currently, we have built few of them, which then runs this result and generate a report. Again, reports can be generated in various formats. This is just one CSV file that gets uploaded back into BIM 360. Along with this, users get notified on their inbox. Like here you can see vehicular accessibility or to refuse room, the garbage collection has to have enough turning radius, sanitary connections, positions of sanitary pipe. There are various rules that you can run, whatever you have configured, and it generates the very nice report of failures and successes in your inbox. As soon as you click on the link or open file, you can review these designs or directly open the file that you've uploaded in your own CAD environment. But we provided this interface to actually view the errors in the model. What you see here is a model loaded in Forge Viewer. You can click on different issues. Let's start with sanitary connections. You would notice that in your entire model, it will highlight all the places where it finds that things are not connected. These are the kind of things, issues that you would want to identify, which are very difficult in general to capture because these models are huge. I mean, some of the buildings that we work with have 35 floors, more than that. It's almost humanly impossible to get to all of them. Likewise, position of pipes on water storage tanks that can cause your potable water to get contaminated. Another check here, headroom, which is also very critical. You need to have sufficient headroom whenever you're walking through stairs, different spaces, rooms, everything. It is able to kind of identify every such corner case. We can implement site-related checks, different system-related checks, and many other such things, which kind of help us demonstrate the problems with the given model. This is the kind of thing where you want to have enough turning radius for the given garbage vehicle to actually come in, and that's what we completely demonstrate. A
Great.
platform that runs most of the checks automatically and provides reports to the user right in the inbox.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. So you touched on a bunch of different benefits that this application provides. Can you summarize them? So customers are coming to you for this application. They're getting time savings and cost savings. What other benefits are they seeing?
Yeah, the most important benefit is time and cost saving. I mean, a lot of rework can add into when these projects go into approval phase from the government, and by that time, sometimes these changes are very costly.
Yeah.
More I work with the industry, I realize everyone expects things to happen in a click of button. We are almost trying to get to a level where we don't even ask them to click a button. It automatically pops up in your inbox as soon as you uploaded the file.
Yeah.
I would say that's the best benefit and USP.
Yeah. And then how did you use Forge in building this application?
Forge, I mean, definitely BIM 360 APIs, very nice, help us to monitor every activity that is happening on the BIM 360. And for the viewer, Forge is a good viewer. We did not have to invest a whole lot of time in building a viewer. It provides a lot of functionality out of the box. We can allow users to visualize all the errors, issues right in the Forge viewer. I think those have been the good benefits.
Yeah.
I think it aligns well with our business model as well. It's a very trigger and action driven system. Every time you see this kind of check is performed, we would we request our that's when the transaction happens, and that's when customers are charged as well.
Yeah. So kind of using Forge in the viewer saves you time and helps you save your customers time as well. So
yeah,
the nice.
Perfect.
Okay. And then last question for you. So what's next for you and Encircle and the BIM connector application? Do you have plans for future improvements or enhancements?
Yes, definitely. We plan to implement about 300 rules in next 1 year with a big team, and in about 5 years, we also want to extend this to probably 2,500 to 3,000 rules. On the BIM connector platform, the idea and concept there are a lot of softwares that work in the construction industry. Every construction company I've come across invariably works with more than 15-20 different software for the entire end-to-end flow. We want to make this entire workflow or set of software talk to each other seamlessly without having anyone to actually log on to a new platform. I mean, we want them to work in the platform they already are and provide them results right in their environment rather than moving them elsewhere.
Great. That's exciting. All right. Thank you. So moving on, next up, I would like to hear more from Frank and Xinaps. So Frank, can you tell me a little bit about the application that your team has built, Verify 3D?
Yes, of course I can. We are as a Dutch-based startup. We have quite some experience now with working with Forge and working with Autodesk in general, and specifically with Revit files and in the BIM workspace. And with Xinaps, we developed Verify 3D, however you would like to call it. And we have a strong focus on innovative companies who want to bring their BIM workflows to the next level. And our customers are transforming their digital workflows in their needs, and most of all, they're all data-driven. And Michael Bartyzel will tell a little bit more about that, how Buro Happold will do that together with us. But the emergence of common data environments as the collaborative platform to the construction industry is a real game changer, and we see that at Xinaps, and we developed Verify 3D for that. And also, we are very proud to also work with some industry leaders, not with Autodesk only, but also with Autodesk resellers like Applied Software from Atlanta, Symmetry from the Nordics, and the UK. But also bigger names like Takanaka, also Buro Happold, TBI in the Netherlands, McCarthy in the US. So yeah, we built together with them a lot of knowledge, and we brought it back into one solution. It's Verified. And again, next to me is you, and yeah, he can give you a small demo, share a quick demo about how we used and how our customers using Verified 3D in combination with the Autodesk tool sets.
That'd be great.
Okay. If I go to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you should be seeing my screen. What we're going to show you today is the integration with BIM 360. It's been a focus of our efforts in recent weeks. Verified 3D is a cloud-based model checker, and integrations like the one you're just seeing with BIM 360 is very important. We're also looking at other integration platforms. The main aim of the program is for general contractors, subcontractors, and AEC professionals. And the focus is on improving data quality. So the data quality needs to be checked against project requirements to report flaws and to avoid potentially costly errors. I think there's a good moment to begin to show you. So for example, this connection is with one of our user groups, and it's simply a matter of logging into Autodesk BIM 360. If you avail of the existing connection, you simply click, and then you get directed to your model. The model takes about 2 minutes to download for the purposes of this presentation. I've done it beforehand. What you have on the left-hand side is you have your existing files, you have the BIM 360 connections, and then you have a connection to a plugin we have in Revit. The next step down is associated with filters. What happens with the filters, it allows you to run property checks on the information within the model. The filters themselves here on the left-hand side are part of our mantra. It's classify, validate, and report. So the filtering process is the classification. The rules are associated with the working together of those filters against the project requirements. And then you can report with an issues report at the bottom. And it's simply a matter of populating the issues report with the necessary information, which you can then pass on to a third party. So again, the focus is on simplifying the whole process, allowing an issue to be reported in real time to a specific recipient. You can then add whatever type of information you want. And then that can be downloaded, in this case, as a BCF file. And you can then send that on to a third party who needs to receive the information and further the issue. Down the bottom, you have all of the data analysis tools. We have different types of viewers. We have fit to view. We also have 2D floor plans, and there's also possibility to do a first-person view. Just going to zoom around to give you an idea as to the interface as it is currently at the moment. If you look also, there's a potential for section box measuring, building stories to localize information and also to isolate certain spaces.
Actually, your screen is frozen, just as a heads up. It's on the Revit files being converted by Design Automation, 40%.
Oh, okay. Stop share. Well, then I'll change back again. Stop share, and then I'll share screen again.
I think you have a different browser. You have to open up.
You should be seeing the model now. Is that?
You can see the model. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Well, to give you an idea, I'm just moving around the model as we're speaking. To give you an idea again, I spoke about the files. This is where the BIM 360 connection is. You then have the filters. This allows you to filter out the different types of information. You then have the rules, which is a method of allowing you to run checks on the information in the model. And then you have issues where you can report out any issues which you experience in the model in real time. If we come down again to the bottom, it speaks about the data analysis tools. I was just saying that we have a wireframe view, fit to view 2D floor plans as well. We also have measurement, section boxes, building stories, and spaces. Again, this allows you to localize certain aspects of the building. And here we have the element browsers and the filter manager. And the filter manager is used in conjunction with the filter manager on this side. So basically what it allows you to do is to populate the filter manager with the necessary checks in real time. The whole idea is that this is a very simple way of ensuring that the data in your project environment is as you want it to be. And it continues this idea of classify, validate, report. And I think that's probably a good moment to hand over to Michael.
Yeah.
To give you an idea as to how Buro Happold are looking to use the application.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much, Hugh. Well, it's actually been a pleasure working with Xinaps. I've known Frank for quite some time already. It's been a few years. Frank was also very good at sharing his knowledge with us and many other people in the Revit user groups where we were organizing the presentations. But the main thing that drew us to this tool was that we can actually build our own rules. And I've mentioned in our introduction that we're all about data, we're all about sharing. And very often we as a consultants, we work with the architects where we would receive the models from the architect. And part of our scope is to verify if the rules that the architects applied to the models are correct. So I'll give you some examples. So one of the teams that's working with this tool is inclusive design. And these guys actually look at the wheelchair access to the buildings, if the doors are wide enough for the wheelchair user to get through. And we give them rules. The architects apply those rules, but then we need to go back and check if actually they are all to the code that we've given them. And that's the easiest way you can check, because we get the model back, we run a quick check, and straight away we know where this complies or it doesn't comply. We can flag it up straight back to the architect. And everything is transparent because we're using BIM 360. Everything's live very quickly. It can be, the RFI can be raised, and with the next iteration of the model, there you go, it's done.
So kind of summarizing the benefits that you're seeing from using this application, can you tell us what
the biggest benefit is that we, you know, it's not just that we need to do it manually as it was in the past. We had to go and let's say download the schedule of doors and check the parameters for those doors. And it's a very manual and laborious task to do. With Verify 3D, it just flags it up for you straight away. You don't need to do anything. It's within minutes, you've got all the answers that you need.
Great.
And saving time is something that we're all very keen on.
Oh yeah, I think that's a common theme today. So great. Frank, anything to add to Michael's story and use?
Yes, for Michael in particular, because they're also testing and rolling out BIM 360 and the seamlessly integration with BIM 360. And that's also maybe an answer on your next question. How do we use Forge? There we use Forge for mainly. So integrating with all these services, yeah, your online and your cloud-based services offer. And simple to use features like single sign-on is very user-friendly. The interface and again pushing issues, not only downloading issues but also pushing them to BIM 360 issues, is for a lot of users a very big benefit, because there you can manage all your issues at the same place at the same time, and everybody has, like Michael said, transparency, so everybody can see which issues are still open and which issues are solved. And that's literally something you see a lot of companies still doing manually, and you have to monitor that and maintain that manually, and that costs again time, but it's also very error prone, like Encircle said before. Yeah. So this whole digitalization process in the industry is unstoppable at the moment, and that's part of our solution as well.
Okay, and most of your other customers that you're finding, are they using Verify 3D and finding the same benefits as Michael was? Is the use case generally the same?
It depends on the target audience, because Michael is, like he said, in more an engineering practice. We also focus on general contractors, and general contractors are even more on a visualization than on data. Michael is has a very advanced team, and is keen on data, and the general contractors are more keen on the visualization itself. So that depends on who you talk to. But yeah, in some cases there's an overlap and they're quite similar.
Great. And then what's next for either Xinaps or for Verify 3D?
One of the biggest thing is an open API. So a lot of customers wants to use the viewer only, for example. Other ones say, hey, I don't need a viewer, just need the data. Importing their own rule sets. At Buro Happold, for example, they have bunches of rule sets themselves. They have lots of scripts and in Excel set up rules themselves, and they want to import. So this is a really important thing. So that's on the list, and of course integrating with multiple cloud-based collaboration platforms. I just mentioned them like Procore or Dalux or other European standards. So that's one of the things which are on the roadmap as well.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, guys. Moving on to Matt. Matt, I'd love to hear a little bit more about, just reintroduce yourself, your company, and tell us about Clarity, the application that you built.
Sure. So Clarity is a product. I'll share my screen here. And I will put up a slide for a moment if I can fight my way through all of the windows and pop-ups. So Clarity is a product that's existed since 2012, and it actually started out, and actually still really is fundamentally an on-premise product as opposed to a cloud product. And we're just really starting to offer some cloud-related capabilities within it. But because we started with the concept of Revit models living in your network folder or a Revit server someplace on premise, it's fundamentally an automation tool which works and does all sorts of automation on Revit models that live inside of your network. And then as BIM 360 came out, we added support for BIM 360 around 2016, and we're able to process models and do a variety of tasks. Thousands of different tasks are getting done by our customers on your own sort of processing machines for things like print and export and extracting data out or moving data and cleaning it up in the process as you deliver it out to partners or you receive data back from partners. It's a wide variety of task automation is sort of the core concept of Clarity. But what I wanted to talk about in this context, because the topic was model checking, is one aspect of what we can do with Clarity is what we call model health checking. And this has been a topic that's been discussed a lot at the various conferences like the BILT conference or Autodesk University over the past few years, where people have wanted to be measuring how Revit is being used by individual users and to try to have an understanding of whether they are following the best practices of how to use Revit, how to design with Revit, and to not be doing things which are ultimately going to cause performance problems or other Revit-related project issues. And so we have been working on this with Clarity for the last few years, to the point where, switch over to Clarity, where we can fully automate your model health checking to be able to, as you're doing these background sort of regular tasks like make prints or exports of the Revit models, we can also be checking to see if people are using the Revit models properly. So for example, if I go into Clarity and go into this project, we're tracking these particular models within this project. I can go in and set up these tasks for things ranging from publishing or downloading, but also we can go in and look at things like the Revit Performance Advisor from Autodesk. Autodesk has 17 different criteria for why your Revit model is slow. And we will go in and execute these in a batch mode against some or all of the Revit models that are in your project. And you can define how often that happens. Is it just on demand? Is it immediately whenever there's a sync to central? Or is it scheduled? So we might schedule it for every night at 2 a.m. Maybe only if the model's changed since the last time that that you've run this task. And ultimately, this is just something which happens in the background. I've kicked it off now, and it's now going to do this work for all of these models. And as I said, historically, this is the kind of thing which was done on premise. So you had to have a seat of Revit, which, if it's in the middle of the night, hopefully it's, someone's unused license of Revit that can be used to open up these models and check the, check the model health. But recently, over the past year or so, we've integrated the Forge design automation, so that rather than using your own on-premise copies of Revit to do this work, it's possible to send this work out and execute it within Forge design automation. And whether it's a BIM 360 model or whether it's a file-based model, all of that work can be done up in the cloud instead of on your own workstations.
Saving time again.
Saving time, saving resources.
Yeah.
And then, from the other part of what we try to offer is the ability to provide dashboards and other ways of looking at the results of this data. And so if I switch over to the metrics side of things, I might be responsible for just the BIM 360 projects or, different sets of projects. But we wanted to give the BIM coordinator sort of role, who might be responsible for a bunch of projects, easy access to understand what's going on within their models, which ones have problems. The firm, out of the 70 or so measurements that we're taking, the firm can decide which kinds of issues are most important and set levels to say what range of this measurement is acceptable, which range of this measurement is unacceptable, and sort of what's in between. So a green, yellow, or red sort of model. We also have a point scoring system in place, but that gives us the ability to draw your attention as a BIM coordinator to your projects, going red and saying, oh, well, what are the issues? And we can drill in and see both right now as well as over time, what's going on with this? How did it get to this level? And we can see over time it was actually up at a much worse level, and then it got cleaned up. But we can also see that there were events that happened along the timeline, like a model slowdown and a model crash, and that probably precipitated people going in and needing to clean up different ways that things were happening. So we have different ways of looking at this graph, either across projects, whether it's within a project, and we even have a what we call the check engine light for what score of model is unacceptable, and we'll tag your project with a little dumpster fire icon to indicate that it really needs someone to look at these kinds of things.
Great. Very cool.
And then just more broadly, the ability to look at data across projects, to be able to go and say, what is the distribution? What are reasonable comparisons?
Great.
For how good or how bad are my models? What's the range? Is it different by model size? Those kinds of things.
Cool.
So yeah, that's one aspect of Clarity, which is the model health checking kind of capability.
Great, thank you for sharing that. Curious what challenges you ran into kind of when you were building the application, and or what challenges you're really focusing on solving that customers are coming to you with.
Well, when we originally were building the application, we were trying to do something that that Revit is not really designed for, which is operate in a batch mode. And really, when Forge Design Automation came out, that was really a use case where that's really what the Forge Design Automation is built for, is to run that in a batch mode. And so, we did all the hard work, using the tool in a way that it was not designed for. And now with Forge DAA, we've got a tool that's sort of purpose built for what we're trying to do here.
Great. And then what's next for Clarity?
Well, so I think the big thing that we're interested in from a Forge DAA perspective is that today, from a BIM 360 perspective, you can really just work on published models within BIM 360. We believe that Autodesk has said that they're going to support Revit Cloud Workshared models for Forge DAA. And so we expect that the moment that that becomes available, we will be jumping on it to try to be able to do better at checking live models inside of BIM 360 and not just published models.
Great. All right. Thank you. I know we've gotten a lot of audience questions today, so I want to make sure we leave time to get to them. But first, I just wanted to ask all of the panelists. I'm just curious. We saw, 3 different approaches today to helping customers with BIM modeling and checking. And we heard a little bit about what's next for each of your applications or companies. But in kind of the larger industry, what are the trends that you see coming? What are the next big challenges that you see for your customers that you want to help them overcome?
So I think what I can add to that is the biggest challenges in the industry sometimes is also coming up with the standard way of working. I think in the construction space itself, every company, every geography is slightly working in a different manner. I think what we need in the industry is really coming up with a tool that can really take care of all such minor variations, because I think fighting that battle and getting everyone to agree on one particular standard is a very Herculean task. It will happen. Perhaps it will also get accelerated because of the COVID-19 situation, where people are trying to do more work collaboratively, remotely. I think it all is required. But a tool that can really work with all standards, all customizations, that would be the biggest challenge in the industry.
Matt or Frank, anything to add about the trends, what's coming next?
No, yeah, what was already mentioned is standardization is key, and you see the difference between IFC and Revit files, which is European versus the US, which is a big thing. That's why we try to support both platforms and generated our own engines in the same solution. And therefore also the Forge API is a blessing to work with, because there you can convert Revit files and support native Revit files immediately. And on the other hand, what you see is a big trend is the whole digitalization. Yeah, everybody wants to be standardized on based on a common data environment like the ISO 19650. So yeah, if we can find there a golden middle for a global way of working, I think that will be a blessing for as well the customers, as well the software vendors itself, because that's something really is lagging at the moment, and there we can improve. And a lot of institutes, Building Smart, but also Autodesk itself, are working hard to align these data standards. And I have a good trust that will be solved in the next coming years. It will take some time, but we will get there. But that's the biggest trend we see at the moment, and collaborating and like the collaboration platforms like BIM 360 and Procore and other tools are helping to fasten that process.
All right. Well then, let's open it up to questions from our audience. Sanjana, do you want to let us know what's on their mind?
Sure. We actually got a lot of great questions, so we'll try to get to all of them, but we apologize if not. Let's start with model health checks. Can you speak to model health checks, like the number of warnings, the geolocation, the model duplicates? This can be for any of you.
I think that falls most closely, I'm guessing, into the area that I demonstrated, which was really about model health checking. So yeah, it's definitely possible to automate model health checks, either with the Clarity product, or you can do it yourself with Forge.
Great. We did get some interest about clash detection too. Can any of you speak to how your software evaluates clash detection?
Yeah, I can answer that specifically for our solution. What we are, where we are working on, and we are piloting it with some customers, is the real clashing of several models. So you have the architectural model, the structure model, the MEP model, and therefore we will come with a real clash detection solution. And when you can upload link models and check different versions versus each other. So yeah, definitely there's coming a solution for it, and that will be available around the end of July in our case. So it's on the roadmap, and it's one of the most asked questions from our customers so far.
And
go ahead. Go ahead.
What we've done is to work with BIM 360 model coordination, and we've added some enhancements to that our customers wanted from an automation perspective, to be able to trigger live models to be pushed from their sort of live model in BIM 360 directly into model coordination on a schedule, and then making use of the clash detection that's inherent in the BIM 360 model coordination.
Yeah, and likewise to add, I mean, it's a very important requirement. The first thing that needs to happen before any of the standards can be checked is the clash detection. So definitely, first step that we do is do all kinds of checks, which are basic requirement, whether it has all the information and also the clash detection, and provide that feedback right back to the designer.
Okay. This question is specifically for Michael. Do you guys set some modeling requirements for architects before receiving the model, or do you just submit them under some parameters that you decide and verify?
So thank you very much, Tiago, for submitting that question. Absolutely, that's the answer. What we normally do, we sit down with the architect before we even start the project, and we agree certain rules. So for example, if I want to see the door, I want to see that door as a category door rather than generic object. It very much needs to follow that pattern to make sure that fidelity of the models is correct. So yes, absolutely, sit down and agree with them. And then if they don't follow, just go and gently nudge them a little bit and they will do.
Good philosophy. Matt, you answered this question a bit, but maybe you can go a bit further into it, or anybody else can also provide their own. But how simple or complicated is it to transfer or link models within BIM 360 models to the IMAGINiT model checker setup? This is a bit more around the Forge aspect here.
Yeah, I mean, so with the product, I mean, it's easy to, I guess I'm not entirely sure if I understood the question about whether they were talking about, connecting or sort of starting to work with BIM 360 models inside of Clarity. That's a very easy process. 2 minutes and you're connected up and we're working on your models. But I wasn't sure if they were saying that or talking about using the Clarity product to automate migration of models or linking of models. That's also something we do. I would say that's automatable, but it's not quite simple because there's a lot of complexity to deal with there. But it is something that we do automate.
Great. This is a question for everybody, really, around COBie. Did I say that right? COBie validation. Is it built in? If so, how and when do you map Revit parameters to COBie parameters? How do you account for custom parameters, and how do you account for offline attributes, like those maintained outside of Revit? It was directed to everybody, so anybody, please feel free to jump in.
Who wants to go first? Matt, you first?
You're very kind, Frank.
Thank you very much.
So we don't do any COBie checking in our product. The most that we do is automated COBie exporting, but it's really just leveraging the Autodesk interoperability tools for COBie export. So it's really just making the COBie export happen in automated fashion, not actually doing checking at this point. So.
Yeah, we have chosen for a different way of supporting that. COBie is actually an Excel list with a bunch of rules in there, and that's it. So it's very static. So what we have, and you showed us the rule editor, so you can set up your own rules there. So you can build in your own templates with COBie requirements, for example, and you can save and store these rules in the application, and you can use them over and over again. So you're able to create your own COBie overview in our application yourself. And the next step is, I already mentioned it, but we come up with an API or an import solution where you can, in one click of a button, you can import all your COBie standards right away, and then you have it in our application.
We make everything really very customizable for, like Frank said, rules have to be very customizable. Everyone uses it very differently. However, we currently don't support COBie, but that's on our roadmap.
Great. This one is also from Ignacio. I work for a meteorology company in Spain. I would like to check the model with real construction through point cloud using recap files. Do you think that is possible in a short time period?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and a very relevant question, because you see the popularity of point cloud is reaching is growing aggressively. The disadvantage of point cloud is that it's very heavy, and uploading point cloud solutions in a cloud environment is still very challenging. You see everybody's working on it, and it's improving, but it's not there yet. So, or you have to import your point cloud file into a normal Revit file and then upload it through BIM 360 and then to the solution. That might be the best and the shortest workaround so far. Or the point clouds, must be smaller and being downsized to 400 or 500 megabyte files. Otherwise, it's undoable to run these in cloud solutions. So yeah, and of course, everybody would like to have a digital twin, or compare its point cloud with the drawn model from an architect from a year or 2 years before. So it's coming, but you have to be patient.
Ignacio, to add to that, I think it's a very interesting problem in the industry, and we have made some leaps in solving that problem. We actually apply machine learning to interpret the point cloud data and automatically convert that into BIM models. We are able to automatically segment point clouds, even identify pipes in the ceiling point cloud, and convert that into Revit models. Yes, still it is under development in the initial stages, but early results are very impressive. And probably in few months, in one another webinar, we can show you how the details of automatic conversion from point cloud to BIM models can happen. Once it is converted to BIM model, either manually or automatically with machine learning, I think most of the checks can then be automated in the regular workflow. Sure.
Thank you. I think we have a couple more, time for a couple more. This one's from Rohini. How different is parameter customization in terms of checking LODs, LOIs, and other related technical metadata? Anybody's welcome to jump in on that.
I mean, the short answer is parameters are very customizable. You can choose what kind of rule set you want to run on different LODs. I mean, we make the system such that every parameter is customizable. You can add your own set of parameters to check for, but probably the specific we can discuss offline. Or anyone else, feel free to jump in.
Maybe we can end with any advice for anybody just beginning using Forge?
Well, I mean, I will say if you do have an opportunity to attend, or if we ever have in-person Forge accelerators again, that was a very valuable experience for myself and my team, was coming to a Forge accelerator event. And I know you have virtual events as well, but yeah, the Forge accelerator event did a great job of sort of giving us sort of intensive focus and access to to some really knowledgeable people at Autodesk, and really got us off the ground in terms of our Forge integration work. So I highly recommend it if you can manage.
Yeah,
I have a more generic mantra. Sorry, a more generic mantra. Think big, but start small. And Michael knows that. He knows my phrase there. So I used that with Happold before as well. Think big, but start small.
Yeah, and then likewise, I support what Matt said. I mean, team at Autodesk is very supportive. Apart from the Forge accelerator, there are a whole bunch of samples that you can look at. And of course, as certified system integrators, if you do need any custom help in building any such software, Encircle is always available to help you in the process.
Yeah, I was going to actually add that, Varun, so thanks for voicing that. So all three of our partners today on the call, IMAGINiT, Xinaps, and Encircle, are all Forge certified systems integrators. And so what that means is that they are certified, they've worked with the Forge team, feel very confident that they're able to help all of our customers develop do custom development, application development on the Forge platform. So you can find more information about them on the Forge website, and feel free to reach out to them if you want support on Forge projects, or if you want to learn more about the applications that they've built, that they shared today. You can definitely find that information there, as well as on our blog. So with that, the session has been recorded today, and we're going to post that recording link on our blog. The next session is going to be actually in 2 weeks, and the topic we'll be discussing there is on transportation infrastructure. So we're going to hear from partners who have built innovative solutions in the transportation industry and learn how their customers have been able to lead more efficient and lower cost infrastructure projects. So you'll get a follow-up email from this session with a link to the recording, as well as a direct link to register for our next set of webinars. And again, all this information is on our blog as well. The URL is on the screen right now. Thank you to Michael and Frank and Hugh and Matt and Varun for joining us this morning and sharing all of the great work that they have done. And thanks to all of you in the audience for tuning in today. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.